JD Vance is doing some remarkable things. He is proving that you can have a complete lack of charisma, gravitas, and likability and still be the vice president of the United States. JD Vance just hours ago spoke on Fox News with Martha MacCallum. Martha MacCallum said, surely you would like to be president, right? And JD delivers the most bizarre, forced, phony laugh and then a complete and total lack of charisma. Why is he so unlikable? Take a listen to this.
Together.
But surely, as vice president, you'd like to be president.
Well, look, I think, again, I'm going to try to do as good of a job as I can right now. So one of the things that I don't like about this question and this entire perspective is I've been in this job for all of a year. About a year and 6 months ago, I asked the American people to give me this job that I have right now. Why don't I do as good of a job as I can in this job? We'll worry about the next job sometime in the future.
Okay.
Is there anyone who lacks gravitas, charisma, and likability as hardcore as JD Vance? Like it's you have to try to be this unlikable. Now, the interesting political story that's kind of developing in the background is that what was assumed would be an unbridled, unrestrained, unfettered support for JD Vance as the heir to the MAGA throne is not yet shaping up that way. Now, listen, we're many years out. Trump may end up saying JD is the guy, but it is clear from hearing Trump speak and also from reporting from around Donald Trump that there is a lack of confidence that JD Vance is really the guy that can take over the MAGA throne. And there's a lot of people talking about Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Now, as I've said before, I'm not a fan of Marco Rubio nor JD Vance, but given the choice, I would definitely go with Marco Rubio as the more competent guy with a better head on his shoulders. But the fact that it is clear there is hesitation as to who is going to be the rightful heir to the throne is very, very interesting. Now, a couple other clips, and again, just the total lack of likability. Here is JD saying that ICE agents will not surrender to local authorities. It's kind of interesting spin on federalism.
Country. That's how it should work. Where you have that chaos in Los Angeles and Minneapolis, it's because the local authorities are so committed to an open border that they want to put law enforcement at risk. We're not going to surrender to that. We're not going to submit to that. We're going to be deliberate. We're going to be smart. We're going to try to prevent these chaotic scenes that, of course, the Democrats use to political advantage. But
once again, do we care about the law or don't we care about the law? ICE must conduct their operations while adhering to the law and to the Constitution. They are functioning as an occupying force, but they are not an occupying force. They haven't been requested in many of the venues in which they now are operating. Lawful conduct is a requirement. And again, it's, we don't really care about that. Martha MacCallum asked JD Vance about a poll that is not looking so good for Republicans heading into the midterms. It's a Fox News poll. And JD just goes, oh, Fox News polling is terrible.
Vance, so we just mentioned the midterms. I want to just put up a poll. This shows congressional vote preference. This was at the end of January, so just a few weeks ago. Of all voters, Democratic candidate preference at 52, GOP candidate at 46. We've got a long way to go, but obviously that number would not be good for the majority.
that would not be good. I will say, as much as we love Fox News, we always think Fox News has the worst polling. Me and the president agree on that. I'm sorry.
Now, you know what is fascinating about that? Fox News polling is pretty good. And in fact, Martha MacCallum could have shown JD a far worse number for the generic ballot question for 2026 if she had chosen a different poll. But we all know that they just have no choice but to deny reality. The polling looks disastrous for the midterms. Fox News polling is done by an outside agency. Fox News itself isn't doing the polls. It's commissioning the polls and co-branding the polls. Fox News polling is historically pretty good. But there is no polling you can find, I guess, other than maybe White House internal polls that are shown to Donald Trump to placate him and pacify him. All the polling looks terrible. Even Rasmussen, which is historically quite friendly to Trump and to Republicans, Rasmussen polling looks terrible. They have no choice but to deny reality because the numbers are so bad. Finally, JD tells us what they want to do with these ICE operations. What I suggest we do is let's listen to what JD says they want to do, and let's compare it to what they are doing.
Enforcement. What we've consistently said is that we want to deport violent criminals, people who came in under the Biden administration illegally, and get them out of our country so that Americans' wages can go up, so that American streets can be safer. Tom's been an important part of that, but of course, Kristi Noem's been an important part of that. Our DHS Secretary, Stephen Miller, at the White House has been an important part of that. Here's the thing, Martha, where you've had cooperation between the state, the local, and the federal government, whether it's a blue city like Memphis or a red city in a small town in the middle of Ohio, you have great cooperation and you don't have the chaos. We're able to get illegal aliens out of our country, and we're able to do it in an orderly way. Where you have Democrats refusing to cooperate, places like Minneapolis, places like Los Angeles, the entire immigration enforcement thing, it becomes more chaotic. It becomes harder to get the worst people out of our country. It's a nightmare for the American people, but unfortunately, the Democrats, at least some of them, some elected Democrats, are so committed to the idea that you shouldn't be able to deport anybody that they're willing to put at risk the lives of local police, the lives of federal law enforcement to ensure that it's as hard as possible to enforce the border. We're going to keep on enforcing the border despite that, but man, it would be great to have a little bit more help from the local officials.
That the president didn't like the videos that he was seeing in Minnesota.
I don't think any of us liked the videos.
So are we not going to see that kind of surge in Los Angeles or New York, the other places that you mentioned?
Well, Martha, none of us like those videos. That's in fact, the point is we don't want immigration enforcement to be chaotic. In 99% of cases, you have a federal law enforcement officer. They show up at a jail or they show up somewhere else. They identify a person who needs to be deported, and they get him out of our country. That's how it should work. Where you have that chaos in Los Angeles and Minneapolis, it's because the local authorities are so committed to an open border that they want to put law enforcement at risk. We're not going to surrender to that. We're not going to submit to that.
All right, and then he goes back to the surrender thing. So listen, they want to they want to deport violent criminals. Okay, but they're deporting nonviolent criminals. There's also no evidence that criminals meaningfully reduce wages, which he says is something, I'm sorry, not criminals, immigrants, documented and undocumented. But what they do is become customers of businesses. When you have more immigrants, be they documented or undocumented, they need to buy clothes, they need to buy food, they become customers. Now, this is not a justification for letting people in illegally, but we should hold them to what they said they were going to do, which is get rid of violent criminal illegals. And they are snatching up people who not only don't meet that definition, they are even snatching up people that are American citizens. So JD, as always, unlikable as ever, deranged as always, raising questions as to whether maybe something is going on with his brain as well, although I don't think so. I think he's just deeply uncharismatic and a completely unserious person. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Most scammers rely on information that's already public. Your name, address, phone number, family connections, a lot of that is online and available to be scraped and abused. Our sponsor, Incogni, reduces the risk by removing you from the internet wherever that personal data appears. It works across many types of websites, not just one category. So scammers have fewer ways to piece things together about you. Incogni automatically submits removal requests to hundreds of sites on your behalf. But the standout feature is custom removals, where you find your information on any website, even one not in their database. You paste the link and Incogni's team will get to work to remove it. I can tell you, I've personally been getting way fewer scam and spam calls and messages ever since I started using Incogni. You can accomplish a lot quickly with Incogni. Protect yourself before your data is used against you. Get 60% off when you go to incogni.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman. The link is in the description.